Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to the first of many feature match commentaries for the online tournament on my Discord server. If you guys are not aware, currently I am hosting an ongoing series that'll be held roughly once a month or so, so if you guys are interested in joining that, it's simply just a dueling book current format tournament. Definitely feel free to check out the Discord link in the description box of this video and every other video for that matter, and you'll be able to just find all that good stuff in terms of information and whatnot. So I asked you guys on my community tab poll once again to see if you guys would like to see feature match commentaries and which ones you would like to see. And this matchup actually ended up winning the vote, which is going to be Big Nickel Eye on Gouki versus Saint RL on Mekk-Knight Orcust. And a lot of you guys also seemed to give me the notion that multiple feature matches per round would be a good idea. So that is something that I also bring to you guys as well. So you can expect to see many different commentaries on the channel in the upcoming days and weeks. And this is a good chance for me to not only show you guys more competitively oriented content, but also just to be able to commentate from a kind of bird's eye view without actually being one of the players. It gives insight into different plays and different lines that maybe I might have not considered. So this is another kind of like alternative dimension of gameplay commentary, if that makes sense. So yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right in. I will give a forewarning that the first game and the first part of the second game are kind of silly, and you'll see what I mean. But stay tuned, like stick with me here. It'll get better, I promise. But yeah, the first game especially, there's not a whole lot that ends up happening. But yeah, there is enough interaction towards the later stages of the match where I felt like it was still good enough to at least consider showcasing. So yeah, Gouki ends up going first here in game number 1. And the opening hands are pretty decent for Gouki. There is enough to combo, although it is the worst Gouki, because again, you want to be able to search headbutt ideally, and this does lose harder to hand traps, which there is one in the Orcust hand. So it's going to be harder to make a board here. And you notice this player is on a 40 card list, and it's actually quite different because they're actually not on a Dragoon package. They are still playing Phantom Knights, of course, but there's going to be slightly extra or different cards in the extra deck as well, as you will see throughout this match, which differs quite drastically from mine, which I think is also a good reason to showcase this sort of build, I suppose. And then on the side of Orcust, this is definitely just a hard brick. No play starters, just kind of hoping that the defensive traps will get there. So yeah, starting off with Gouki, just going to activate Hornet Drones, special summoning a token, and then normal summoning Headbat, making Isolde, and then grabbing searches. This chain was resolved in the wrong order, but ended up being fine. Like, I think the players kind of understood what was meant to happen there. But yeah, this should have been, the rematch should have been searched first when the chain resolved. But regardless, you can see, of course, that this is what you do when you do start off with Headbat. That way, if you get your level 1 Gouki off of Isolde, you can just search another Headbat, and then pitch your filler Gouki, and then continue from there, basically almost the same way, just not getting an additional Gouki search. But yeah, with the Imperm, it definitely makes it a lot harder to actually create a good board, because you're going to see that that's going to stop extra Gouki access for this turn, because there's no way to really put another Gouki name into the grave this turn for rematch. So the follow-up is going to be an activation of the Shade Brigandine, as well as the Living Fossil, targeting Headbat. And then instead of going for a Verite Anaconda, like I mentioned, there is no Dragoon package in this build. They're going to end up going for a Masquerena into a copy of Magnetic Crusadia Avamax. So this is not a reactive card, of course, but it is fairly difficult for a lot of decks in the metagame currently to out, especially if it was made with IP, since it can't be killed by card effects. But against specifically Orcust, all they have to do is find a way to Degirsu, and that is all she wrote. But that is not going to be happening anytime soon. Top deck is another Imperm, which means it's going to be set 3 and pass. Gouki's going to draw Veiler for turn. And it's kind of interesting, they choose not to commit to the board here. Not really sure what we're trying to play around specifically, because I mean, you could always just go and normal summon and just put them on a 2-turn clock instead of a 3-turn clock with just Avamax. But we're going to get in here, and then the Orcust player is going to draw an Ash for turn. That's not really going to be that helpful. Gouki draws a Super X, and here you definitely can like just go normal Super X, special twist. Even if like you get out an Imperm, like that's like fine, It's not really, it's a resource that doesn't hinder you given the fact that Orcust bricked this hard. So I feel like you just commit to the board. Yeah, Avamax is going to get in again for another 3k. And Orcust top deck is going to be Nibiru. At this point, you definitely, I feel like, have to just set the Ash and hope it's good enough, especially if your opponent just refuses to play into the board for whatever reason it might be. But that doesn't happen, and we're going to go to game 2. Again, stick with me here. The other games are going to be a bit better than this one, because obviously that was just kind of a hard brick from Orcust. But you see the opening hands here, Orcust is going to go first. We have a Girsu, which is a good starter. We have a Hand Trap in Nibiru. We have more engine cards with World Wand and Babel, and then a Floodgate in Order. And then on the side of Gouki, there is not really a good way to get into Isolde. It's just Guts as like the only real warrior starter. Zero Day, which is a card that you don't really want to draw, but it's not horrible, because it can be summoned from hand with the Virus Swordsman, and it is in and of itself still a warrior, so you can actually, like, in fringe cases, like normal it, and then like special maybe like a Fire Flint Lady, and that actually does get you somewhere. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. And then 2 hand traps with Ash Ogre, and then rematch. So Goose is going to be normal summon, and that's actually going to be met with the Ghost Ogre, which is a pretty interesting choice to keep in against Orcust, but honestly, with the way Orcust is kind of right now, they play very, very little extenders. So if you get the body off the board, it makes it so that they can't target anything with Nightmare, and also they don't have the extra monster on board to be able to summon Galatea. So yeah, Ghost Ogre is actually not that bad against like the normal summons, because whether it's Gyusu or the Scrap Recycler, they're going to typically be reliant on having the extra bodies, because like, you know, if you send like your Rosenix like, and you summon a token, I mean, it's not really going to do anything. And again, they don't play that many extenders, so it is very, very vulnerable in terms of like Orcust's normal summon as just a definitive choke point. Just it's so much of their, you know, the way they can actually establish their board. So if you cut off their access to monsters early, it's actually not that bad. So yeah, it's just gonna be, you know, after that it's just gonna be a set of order and a pass. Gouki is going to draw a Cosmic for turn, and set Guts, set Cosmic, and pass. Not a whole lot to be able to do, and setting us in defense just makes sure that you can go ahead and just keep the body for next turn in most cases. Normal summon Ash that was top decked for turn for Orcust, and then Nightmare is going to be banished to target the Ash, but that's going to be met with an Ash of Gouki's own. So yeah, there's not going to really be any good access to Orcust plays anytime soon, and you're about to see an end phase Cosmic on the Imperial Order, which will be chained, and that is going to halt the game state pretty significantly. Now, to be fair, I think that honestly the best play is just to try, even though there is Nibiru, you just gotta try it, right? Like flip up Guts, normal summon the 0 Day, go into Isolde, and just hope it all works out. You can pop Order on the way to Appaloosa, so you can like go into a rematch play afterward. Yeah, instead, the Gouki player decides to just set Fogblade and set 0 Day and pass. Again, I'm not sure if they just didn't realize that 0 Day was actually a warrior as well, because this does help make Isolde in these kinds of like fringe spots. Orcust is going to draw a Strike for turn, not really going to be helpful in terms of the actual progression of the engine. This is just going to be pretty much order, denying a lot of stuff, and buying a lot of time for the Orcust player. Drawing Solemn Judgments, just drawing more things that are like nice defensive cards, but they aren't engine cards. Let's see, top deck here is Instant Fusion, just more spells, just don't do anything. Feather Duster, another spell, doesn't do anything. Pass, drawing a second rematch, doesn't do anything, pass, and finally we get to Scrap Recycler, which is indeed a play. So Scrap Recycler going to come down. That is not met with the Fogblade, which is pretty interesting, because that is another way that they can access the Orcust part of their engine. But perhaps the fear was a follow-up Halka Fibrax, because there's a tuner on board, which is fair, because that can always get to Brass Bombard if Orcust does opt to play like Hulk with Brass, which can get to Galatea anyways. So it is possible that that was the mindset. So yeah, that is actually going to resolve, and then we're going to use World Wand's other effect. It does have an effect where if it's sent to the grave, you summon a World Legacy from your hand, so you can summon another copy of itself. This is cool if you play like the World Arm card, because like you get special arm and get a search, but most people don't play that kind of stuff. Wand going to be banished to bring back Nightmare. Link away the Recycler and the Nightmare for Galatea. Galatea effect is going to be targeting the Wand to put it back into the deck and set a copy of Crescendo. And Degirsu is going to be next, and that is going to clear one of the cards. There's nothing to attach. So I'm trying to think, because I don't believe Nightmare sent anything yet this turn, if I remember correctly. So that's going to send the Guts, whose effect is going to be attempted to activate, which will be responded to as Strike. Which is fair, because if you're assuming your opponent bricked, like, your opponent wasn't able to do anything that whole time, well, presumably, right? So you figure, like, cutting off their access to extra Goukis is a good play, which I don't disagree with. I think that's a fine play. Battle phase, Dingirsu attacks into the 0-day. And then main phase 2, link away the Dingirsu with the Ash for a copy of Galatea. And then link away those two for a copy of Nightmare Unicorn. This is a pretty interesting play. So Unicorn's actually going to pitch Debut to target their own order, so that they can fire off this copy of Feather Duster, which gets rid of a pretty impactful cards, I would say, apart from the Phoenix Blade. But Instant Fusion and Fall Blade definitely pretty good there. And then setting up a Babel, which is going to allow for a Symbol Dingirsu setup on the following turn. So I'm pretty sure Nightmare wasn't actually activated at all this turn. Definitely could have been before summoning like the Dingirsu, I think. Maybe like get an extra attach, possibly. But in the end, that's not going to be what happens, so I'm going to move on here. And drawing a copy of Cloak for turn. Standby phase, Nightmare is going to activate to send Symbol, and that is pretty much going to be it. It was going to target the Galatea to make the Crescendo live. So yeah, that was kind of just how, that's just the power of Imperial Order. But yeah, I think that if Gouki went for the Isolde play earlier, even though like it would have probably played into Nibiru, like you kind of just have to go for it. So Gouki's going to go first in game number 3 here, and we see an interesting side card, which is Different Dimension Ground. This is a pretty good card against a lot of the metagame right now. Just like, cutting off Graveyard Access is always really, really good in combo-heavy formats. So it's going to be Normal Summon Suprex, effect to Special Summon Headbat, and then going to go ahead and link into Isolde, grabbing triple searches here. So Rematch, Headbat, as well as a filler Gouki. I would have considered activating Shade Brigandine and linking away just one of the Goukis. This way, like, you lose a little bit less hard to hand traps on Isolde, so you don't have to like use a rematch right away. But that is just something I would do personally. Let's see. Isolde sends 1 to summon Guts, and then Headbat, go ahead and summon itself. And then instead of making Appaloosa, the choice here is going to be Gouki the Power Load Ogre, which, to be fair, also resists the Nibiru, but it does kind of make the rest of your board still vulnerable. But the cool thing about this is that you'll see that this person is going to go for a different Gouki end board, which actually works better if you're opting to play these certain cards. Like Power Load Ogre would be better than Appaloosa if you wanted to end on the specific board that Big Nickel Eye wants to end on. But yeah, we're gonna get searches for the just a search for the not Octostretch, the Guts, for a copy of Rematch. Bring back Guts as well as the Suprex. Go for the Codebreaker stuff. Virus Swordsman, bring out the 0-day from hand. Sucks that I drew it again. Virus Berserker, bring back the Swordsman as well as the 0-day. And this is gonna be pretty interesting. So he's gonna go for a Rusty on using the 0-day and the Virus Swordsman. Rusty effect is gonna send Ancient Cloak to set Fogblade, and then grab ourselves the Boots search, and then special Boots, and then turn that as well as the Virus Berserker into a copy of Nightmare Griffin. Now there's a slight mistake. I should have added back Phoenix Blade and it catches it later, so you just get a free pitch. But the idea is like just reset the rematch to get like even more follow up. Normally you end up with another rematch in hand anyway, but I like the idea behind it. I was trying to find ways to maybe make it curious, but like there's too many Dark Warriors. Like you can get like a Link Creeper with which is a Cyberse, but getting the third type is hard. But yeah, like you can see this works better than Appaloosa because Appaloosa points upward, so this just doesn't give your opponent an extra zone to work with. So this is a pretty cool combo. Not sure if it's definitively better than Appaloosa. And like missing the Dragoon stuff is kind of leaves your board susceptible to just control decks. just in general. But no, this is like still a pretty reasonable field, especially with the trap trick drawn off of the Griffin, as well as the DD ground. So you see there is a bit of a trap package boarded in the side deck. Phoenix Blade gonna come down, and yeah, that should have been done before Griffin just to have another copy of rematch. Because like pitching rematch to set rematch is like kind of pointless. I mean, you do get a draw out of it, but you could have had double rematch as well. Drawing World Legacy's Memory for turn for the Orcust player, and then we can see a summon of Pankratops, which does actually beat over the Griffin, which is pretty big. But that is going to be met with a copy of a Fog Blade here. Oh, notably Boots didn't search, so I'm assuming that this is just the only targets. I do have the deck lists, but I'm just not looking at them right now. Main phase 2, I believe there's a normal summon of Symbol, and then a Link Away of Pankratops, and a symbol for a Galatea. Obviously, Pankratops couldn't be chained because Griffin. And then link into a copy of Dingirsu. Or maybe not. Oh, okay, so yeah, Gouki's going to think in response to the summon of Galatea. Going to activate Trap Trick, as well as Chain DD Ground for a copy of Sanctum. Interesting that they just didn't flip it up on the summon of the symbol. Maybe just wanting to get the Pankratops off the board, which I guess is fair enough. But yeah, the DD Ground actually isn't going to do a whole lot because this hand is, doesn't really extend too much past this anyways, especially in the face of a Griffin. And like, drawing the symbol obviously isn't going to do, a whole lot. So yeah, set evenly. Oh wait, I just noticed that there wasn't evenly, and it wasn't fired off, I wonder what the reasoning for that was. I actually literally just noticed, like I didn't even see the evenly there. So, kind of wonder why Pankratops was the play instead of evenly. Good on evenly, probably would have kept Griffin, and then you can maybe try and do that play in main phase 2, perhaps. It would have still been kind of hard. But yeah, normally Pankratops evenly is very nice because you can just sack off the Pankratops in the battle phase and then fire off evenly. But yeah, against Griffin, can't really do that. So, oh no, found that a little bit strange. But yeah, I think from this position, it's kind of harder for Orcust to win, because even if the evenly resolved, right, it's still hard to access the Orcust engine from this point because you drew the one of the Orcust that just doesn't really do a whole lot as far as getting your play started. Granted, there is a World Legacy's Memory, so you can have their play next turn if you summon Girsu, but yeah, it's still gonna be harder to make anything reactive this turn. Although granted, you could have gone main phase 2, summon Pankratops, summon Symbol, and then Degirsu in the EMZ above Griffin if Griffin was kept. So yeah, and also obviously evenly affects the player, not the card. So that's that would still be banished if it came down to it. It's not like Gouki's forced to keep this. So I totally didn't even see the evenly. That is kind of funny, but yeah, evenly should have probably been used there. Activate Babel and then set a copy of Memory and then pass turn. Gouki's gonna draw a Fireflint Lady. That's pretty good because we got a couple warriors, so it's just a free summon. Rematch gonna target Headbat as well as the Twist Cobras, summon them out, and then Phoenix will be dropped, and then that will be met with a Dingirsu protection. They get a little bit confused over the wording of Griffin. It's linked, not co-linked. We're gonna get Gouki searches for the 2 that were sent to the grave, so searching for Suprix and Octastretch. Banish 2 for Phoenix Blade. And then special summon Fireflint Lady, and then go for a copy of Unicorn, a Unicorn effect, shuffle back. I believe it was the targeted strike. Actually, it was one of the back rows. But yeah, strike is going to be met, or strike is going to be responded to for the Unicorn. And then normal summon Suprex, and then summon the Octastretch, and go to battle phase. So this Power Ogre is pretty big right now. It is 200 times 7, so plus 14, so it's on 42, I believe. So Griffin attack over, and then Power Ogre attack for 42. Symbol gonna bring back the Galatea. There's a little bit of a discrepancy about Galatea not being able to die by battle, but yeah, it is linked, so that is in fact the case here. Rusty going to attack over, and then main phase 2, end of battle phase. There's the evenly. Yeah, that, like, if that was fired off during the first turn, that would have been much more devastating. But now I feel like it's a bit too late to come back. Oh, JK. Looks like memory is going to be activated first, so you can get Girsu here, and then it'll return to hand and end phase. Like, this will be banishing 2 because it's 6 cards to 4. After this resolves, it'll still be 4 cards. So you banish 2. It's probably gonna be just like the Goukis, I would imagine. Or maybe like Rusty plus Gouki, depending if you want like an extra Gouki search. Then you'll be able to like normal Girsu, send, but see, like now, like you don't have any like open zones to be able to utilize the Girsu. You're kind of just in the same spot. So yeah, it's kind of a rough one. Oh, grabbing Blue Sky. I didn't like look carefully at these replays before. I just kind of like fast forwarded all of them because there's so many replays to me to look at for the future matches. So I just like, if it was 2-1 and it looked like there was a lot of interaction, that's why like those are the candidates that I chose for the most part. So again, didn't really like heavily look at this. But yeah, evenly is going to be fired off. It is the Goukis that are going to leave the field. And then set a copy of Shea Brigandine, add back Phoenix Blade. End phase, Blue Sky comes back. Draws Feather Duster. But granted, like even beyond all this, like the Sanctum is just gonna, even if this was a Girsu instead of a Blue Sky, the Sanctum would have just, kind of just ruined everything. Yeah, there's no way to play through Sanctum from this position. Yeah, I really feel like just not activating that evenly. Maybe they just forgot that Pankratops couldn't tribute itself once it was on board because it would be under Griffin. So yeah, possibly just trying to get a bit too much value off of the play, which it happens. Like in most cases, if it's not a Griffin, it would work fine. But yeah, it does happen. A little bit of a discrepancy here, but yeah, Gala doesn't actually have to set anything. It can just still shuffle stuff back. Feather Dust are going to activate. Change Shea Brigandine. It's not treated as a trap, so it doesn't die. And then play passes back. And this is essentially just going to be the game here. Funnily enough, this Galatea is actually going to backfire. For the simple fact that, it's just going to eat up a lot of damage. Whereas if the Blue Sky was one of the walls, and it might have been possible to live. I didn't really do the math there. But still, if that was a Girsu, you're like send. I'm trying to think. So you send the Nightmare. You can like Nightmare back. Symbol. Well, you'd still have this Galatea on the board, which would just be a big punching bag. But in a world where Galatea's not there, like I guess theoretically you could have maybe an Orcust Nightmare to block. Because it can't die in battle with Link monsters, but there's a Scythe here. It would have been hard, especially against the Scythe. I don't think it was possible to win, just given the position, even if this was a Girsu instead of a blue. But yeah, I think the real kicker again is just the evenly there, which is unfortunate. But I actually think this is exactly game. Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this match. Gouki is going to take it 2-1. Let me know if you guys do want to see more feature matches, like another feature match for this round in particular. A couple people did specify that, but I just want to ask here in the video as well, because not everyone saw the poll, of course. But yeah, obviously it wasn't like necessarily the cleanest gameplay, but it is still worth looking at because sometimes you have a player who bricks, sometimes you have Imperial Order buying a lot of turns, sometimes you just have a mishap with evenly Pankratops thing. It's part of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like, even though, you can't expect, like, perfect gameplay out of anyone, really. Like, that goes for every player, myself included, and for, anybody who is watching, anybody who plays the game makes mistakes from time to time, and anyone can brick, and anyone can just rely on a floodgate. All these things can happen, so, yeah, please just, I ask, keep the comment section civil and respectful. I should have said that at the beginning, but, yeah, just, keep that in mind that these are also, viewers of the channel. So, just Bear that in mind. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. All 3 links in the description as always. And once again, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.